him, and obviously making the third dimension where Will Dagger goes looking for something that was not the ball in the in-goal area. But worrying for Hull KR that they were so well beaten against a team that they've challenged in the last couple of years.
They must have a very good record against Saints at home normally, even if not in terms of wins, but in terms of performances. And this clearly booked that trend.
I wish I'd looked it up, but I'm sure they've probably averaged the most points per game against Saints in the last 2 years, because there's been a couple of times where they've got around the 30 mark on them. Shall we cover off Brad Takarangi here? Because I think we need to, or Bad Takarangi, as Tom Andrews has asked us to rewrite this saga.
Or Brad Shoulda Ranga Taxi.
Yes, Taxi Rangi. Yes, Sarah.
So yeah, he's admitted to dangerously driving his car on the A63 after consuming a significant amount of alcohol, Hull Magistrates Court has revealed. Takarangi, who's 32, lives in Anlaby, admitted to driving a motor vehicle when his alcohol level was above the limit, and for driving a motor vehicle dangerously and this was heard at Hull Magistrates Court on Thursday, March the 2nd. On January the 2nd, the rugby player drove his Mercedes on the A63 in Hull after consuming so much alcohol that the proportion of it in his blood exceeded the prescribed limit. He had 209 milligrams of alcohol in 100 millilitres of blood. On the same day, he was also driving in the wrong direction on the A63 eastbound carriageway heading westbound. He collided with a police vehicle, injuring the officer. What this also fails to mention is he then got out and did a runner.
He did a Scott Moore?
Yeah, he did a runner. He's been immediately suspended from driving, with the full extent of his ban to be decided by the Crown Court.
Yeah, he's been stood down as well from playing by Hull KR until his court date on the 31st of March. That's the kind of update on this. Obviously, Hull KR are supporting their player through any kind of welfare concerns, but I think they've done the right thing in standing the guy down. It's pretty significant what he's done there, and the story just gets worse and worse, doesn't it, when you're following it through?
Yeah, well, especially because I think it was November last year, there was a case of joyriders going the wrong way down the motorway and killing a woman in her car and causing serious injury. So actually, it's you see from that just how dangerous it is.
I guess his going the wrong way wasn't intentional, but it's certainly, he could get more than just a ban and a fine here, couldn't he?
Well, the fact that it's gone to the Crown Court would suggest that is a possibility.
Yeah. Tom Andrews got in touch. He said, "Don't know what to make of this, as Rovers haven't shied away from standing players down in the past. Nuggets, Luck, Cocaine, Watts, Walker spring to mind. But what Brad's done doesn't sound the best. On a very fast road, I drive down with the kids daily too." And then he makes a bit of a joke. He blames Phil Clark for picking him a Man of Steel. Do you know what? When I read that from Tom, it made me think of on that fateful day, the 2nd of January, one of my friends in our group chat from my school friends put in a wager for like how many kids were going to get born this year.
Yeah.
And one of our other mates sat there in the knowledge that his missus is knocked up, but obviously they haven't got to the point of, where you get to is it 3 months when you start telling people and stuff like that? Yeah. And I was fuming with the lad. Tom also said post-game analysis of Bad Takarangi, clearly not in the right frame of mind. Stand him down now. Not fair on people like Holton on probably a quarter of his wages carrying him. Oh, and I heard Sims was giving him the beers and telling him we drive on the right. That's rumour and speculation, obviously, but that's not ideal.
No.
Let's move on from that saga, and he'll get his punishment meted out to him in good order. you'd think on the 31st of March. The TV game on Friday night was Warrington versus Catalans, Sarah, and it was 6-6 at half-time, locked up, but then Catalans, an understrength Catalans, blew to a 24-6 lead before finishing up 24-18 winners in this one. 9,295, a wizard, a dragon, and Liam Moore were all in attendance. Stats were close in this game, actually. Only 8 metres between the sides. A point of difference was Wyre making 3 more breaks, but then they also had 2 more errors, so kind of cancelling that out. Overall, you might argue this was the most intense game of the year. Neil Ormston will like this, because it saw the most total metres and the most total tackles of any game so far in Super League this year. What happened individually?
Yeah, so individually for Catalans, Tyrone May with 6 tackle busts and 158 metres, Mike McMeekin with 149 metres, Sammy Cernulangi with 148 metres, Arthur Romana with 1 try and 137 metres. For Warrington, Toby King with 1 try assist, 5 tackle busts, 251 metres and 4 offloads. Josh Charnley, 2 tries and 161 metres. Ollie Holmes, 48 tackles, of which 12 were marker tackles, and Ben Curry with 42 tackles. 11 of those were marker tackles.
At Mike Dodd 22 said, "We deserved to get beaten tonight. Catalans clearly had a game plan to slow the ruck down and did that successfully. Anytime Wyre got half a break on tackle 1 or 2, Catalans just sat on the tackle, got their defensive line sorted and accepted the 6 again. Very frustrating to watch and something where the rules have to change or the refs need to start dishing out cards for deliberate breakdown of play."
Yep.
Tony Smith's covered that already.
At Mike Webb 58 said, "Painful to watch Wyre's back struggle behind a lightweight pack. With so many Catalans forwards missing, thought it might be close. However, entertaining and some novel tries."
Always in our shadow cell. "Well, not this year either, if that's all they have. Can't believe Wyre pack missing Hill badly and no grunt up the middle. Could do better if King occasionally passed to his wingman."
Yep. Callum Percy 99 said, "Wyre reminded me of us, Wigan, last year. Scraping wins against bad or half-fit teams, then getting found out when they play a team that's good."
This was a half-fit team.
Yeah.
Lost. EFC 78JU pulled no punches there, he said. "Piss poor performance from Wyre just to leave it until later on in the game to get it to a close game. That's all we did was concede tries to a powerful Catalan side that won the League Leaders Shield. I just know that Warrington are now going to go 3 wins and 2 defeats with these type of performances, and mostly we are heading to the totally wicked to play Saints. Bring back the winning spirits, Darryl Powell's Barmy Army."
Yeah. Lee Whitnell said, "We fucked ourselves good and proper with basic errors. Catalans turned up to play. May looked solid at fullback and I thought both halves played well. They got lucky at the right times and they made that look for themselves. Cooper's line-breaking pass to no one that eventually led to a Dragons try summed up our night perfectly. Crap."
Neil Ormston said, "Hugely disappointing but sadly predictable from Wyre. Our lack of punch up front shows again and will continue to haunt us. We won't make a final this year unless we can swap Widdop for a world-class marquee prop. Fast, accurate spreading of the ball looks nice but completely ineffective against well-organised teams and everyone can see it. The scoreline flattered us. Next week's won't do though."
Rich Owen said, "A disappointing result for the Wyre on Friday night against a weakened Catalan side. The packs go forward and the soft tries conceded, still a big worry. It was always going to take some time with a different style of play, so let's keep the faith. At least there's an easy game this Friday to bounce back."
I think they got Saints and Wigan, so they'll beat Wigan, but as I've already suggested. But yeah, tough one. Where do you want to start on this one, Sarah? Who should we start with? Catalans, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they were hugely, were they hugely? They were under strength, weren't they?
Yeah, they were still missing Dudson and Napa from their suspensions from the first game. Michael McAloran was missing with suspension. Sam Tompkins was missing with injury. Fuad Yaha pulled out in the warm-up with injury. And Joe Chan, who's been so good this year, he was missing when I think he failed a concussion assessment just after the end of last week's game, I think, if I'm right. And Julian Busquets, he's still out with his broken arm. So all of those people you'd think, be in the first choice 17 based on what started in week 1 against St Helens.
But yeah, on the whole, it didn't bother them.
Not at all. They did have the halfbacks in situation. I thought Drinkwater was particularly good. And Pearce, he finished off that try, didn't he, from Drinkwater's perfect kick that he picked out. That was probably the top class try of the night from Catalan's point of view. Warrington scored a nice try with Ashton, didn't they, where King broke through Romano and then got an offload away for Ashton to finish it off. That was a good try, but that was really as good as it got until the last 2 minutes for Wire.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that Leeds and Wakefield was a poor match, but I actually found this just not a very interesting match to watch. I started getting distracted by other things, and more so than I felt like I should. But yeah, it just didn't captivate me.
No, and maybe that was some of the kind of playing spoiler tactics to an extent that were maybe delivered in the first half in particular. I think that's fair. I was fascinated by it just because some of the tries were so weird. I've got to credit Arthur Romano. He bounced back from both serious injury and getting kind of manhandled a bit in the first half by King. By pouncing on King's own error in the second try, in the second half for his try. And I think that completed his redemption from what King had done to him early doors in the game. So absolute credit to him making his first appearance in well over a year after, I think he picked up his serious injury in pre-season last year, didn't he? So he missed the whole season. And I just think Catalans grew in confidence as they disrupted Wire, and Wire looked so disjointed. I talked about Williams being better without Widdop last week, and we're like, oh, but it was just Toulouse. But they struggled to combine in this game as well, and the forwards did nothing to get over a weakened opposition pack. And Matautia was really poor, I thought, for Wire. Lots of mistakes, lots of misjudged decision-making from him. But McMeekan, absolutely outstanding for Catalans in his makeshift prop spot. That's another person saying, I'm here, I'm in contention, Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah, you look and you think, actually, in terms of the pack, Warrington should be bossing it, but they didn't.
No, and they made a lot of ground late on in the game when it went to 12v12, didn't they? And Charlie got in his now obligatory brace. I was expecting some sort of stats from Neil on that, but four games, 4 braces for Charlie. The second one being a close call, but I think from the sideline camera it just about looked onside. So, fair enough. There was a close call for the Romano try, wasn't there? There was a bit of a close call on the Gudeman try where he chased his own kick. The ball just ricocheted right for him, I think, and rolled onto the line. So it was all good there as well. But another one of them funny tries in this game. But the Wakefield levels of turning up too late for Warrington.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was too little too late, wasn't it? Yeah. But also, I don't actually know that even if the match had gone any longer, although yes, they were the ones scoring, I'm not convinced that they are the ones that would have gone on to win if it went on another 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, because something might have woken up in Catalans. They were, I guess, tiring at that stage, but you felt there was more errors to come in from Wire as well, didn't you? That's what I think is maybe what that sense was. Someone who didn't understand what happened in the game was Josh Charnley, because he's got a 2-match penalty notice for Grade C charge of striking. I think this happened towards the back end of the game. There was a bit of a flurry of where he kind of kicked out in a tackle, and I think it was Drinkwater on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? I've watched the video back a few times of the incident, and it almost, I don't know, I can't quite work it all out because the Catalans players are lifting his leg,